Okay, good evening, everybody. We will call the meeting to order, for this is our regular board meeting now. And can we have approval of the agenda, please?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, John, can you lead us in the pledge, please?
Would you all please rise? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, John. Announcements tonight. Mr. Rand, please.
Mr. We're formal. We are excited to announce the creation of the Career Advocate position for our students, generously funded by the Hendricks Family Foundation for the first 3 years, to work with students, exploring occupation options, and developing the skills to obtain those jobs. This is part of our rapidly expanding REACH, Advanced Career Education Program, formerly known as Career and Technical Education. In November, the Beloit Memorial Theater is performing Bertolt Brecht's The Good Person of Szechuan, about a young girl looking to lead a good life amid various obstacles. The play explores themes of morality, economics, and societal structure. The show will be held in the BMHS Auditorium at 7:30 p.m. on November 7th, 8th, 14th, 15th, and at 2:30 p.m. on November 16th. Tickets are $7 for adults and $4 for students and senior citizens. Don't forget to include the BMHS Jazz Band's upcoming concert on your social calendar of events. Jazz at La Casa will take place on Monday, November 3rd, from 6 to 7 p.m. at La Casa Grande Restaurant in downtown Beloit. Though donations will be accepted, the concert is free and includes spectacular performances from our Purple Knights. This concludes the October announcements.
Let me add one more, if I can. So, just a quick one on ad hoc committee, right? So the board moved to move that forward. The next steps for that are to collect names, and we have some wonderful volunteers that have sent their name in and said they would love to be on the committee from the community. We're looking to collect some names from the school district as well. And then also to finish the charge to the committee, which is the part that the board has to do that says, here's our scope of work, here's what we need to do. Both of which need board approval, and I hope that these will come, if all goes well, these will come at the next meeting so we can have conversation and move that forward and get them going. John, please.
Also adding to the announcements, we're going to state. We are going to state. First of all, Brenda Hernandez and Bailey Cronin from our cross-country team are both going to state. Brenda won the sectional, Bailey finished third. This is the first time ever that we've had a member of girls' cross-country team going to state. And there's more. Our boys' soccer team is going to state. They have overcome some incredible odds. They beat, at one point during the season, the team ranked number 10 in the country. They have beaten one of the top-ranked teams in the state, Madison Memorial, to get there. They are going to state. They are pumped. They're ready to go. They're going to be playing on Friday and Saturday if they win on Friday. When they win on Friday. And actually, that's true. I want you to know that we're so confident that it's going to that they're going to win. Joanne and I already have our motel room for Friday night, so we can be there for Saturday as well. And so they are going to Milwaukee to play in-state. And I would urge absolutely everybody in the community, everybody in the school district who can possibly make it either to Wisconsin Rapids to cheer on Brenda and Bailey or to Milwaukee to cheer on our soccer team, please go and support. I think you'll have a blast. We've got some wonderful young people, and they're excited, we're excited, and we hope everybody in the community shares that same excitement.
Hey now. And there's
John will be
still
there.
room available in your room.
No, but I'll give you a personal recommendation.
Shannon, please.
And just to expound on that, I want to let everybody know that tickets are available through Mr. Siles in the athletic department. Tickets for the game for for soccer are $8 a piece. They do need to be purchased sooner than later. There are a limited number available, and there are community buses going up at $5 per person, which will be the cheapest way to get to Milwaukee and back on a chartered bus, and that can also be purchased through the athletics department at the Beloit Memorial High School.
Awesome, thank you. All right. Good announcements today, okay, all right. We'll move on to recognitions. Melissa, please.
We have one really good recognition for you tonight. I'm really excited about this. And to help me with this, I'd like to ask Ryan Rui, our Advanced Career Education Now program, to come up to the podium.
First of all, I'd like to thanks for having me come to speak. So I just wrote something. As we continue to build our REACH program, the importance of involvement from industry is what makes our program successful and relevant. Our partnership with CCI Corporate Contractors is just one example of how these connections help provide our students with exceptional learning opportunities. CCI has had an integral role in helping build our construction program at Beloit Memorial. Mr. Austin has served on our construction advisory committee and has helped us to where we are today. Without CCI, our current student house build project would not be possible. CCI has numerous projects around Beloit and around Wisconsin, and they still find the time to meet and help with our students and our projects. Mr. Austin has helped so much that he's even recruited his own father to work with our students as well. His father has over 60 years of experience in the construction trades, and having him on the job site is truly an enjoyment for not only the instructor but also for the students. Again, we sincerely appreciate everything this partnership provides for our school district and our students. Mr. Austin.
It truly is an honor to work with people like you, so thank you so very much.
Thank you. I'd really like, thank you, Ryan, and thank you very much. I'd really like to thank the school board for, and Mr. McNeil for everything you've done for the community and the whole referendum to get it going, because without all your vision and pushes and everything you've done to keep pushing the community forward, we wouldn't be able to do this donation and to move forward. You guys are doing a great job. Keep it going. We need to keep this community moving forward, and for the whole community. The schools are getting wonderful. They're getting better every day, every year. You got great facilities now, great people running them and doing things with them, and I just hope we all keep together, and we've got a great system here. You're getting a role model or a model for the whole state, for the trades, all the trades, the tech trades, and that's so important that we keep the trades, and not everybody can go to college, and we've always been an advocate for the trades, and I just think this is wonderful, and we got some great things ahead of us, so thank you all, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Brad.
We have a little token of appreciation for you. So Ryan, help me present this. We are awarding this to corporate contractors in recognition of the generous donation to the Student House Build Project, helping provide benefits to both the students gaining valuable experience and the greater Beloit community. Thank you so much, Gabby.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Next, we are at, hello, Shannon, sorry.
Quickly, two things. One, we just had our budget hearing, and we saw that we had to make $7.8 million in cuts, and we also had $2 million in ads. And of those ads, $50,000 was for the program that we just heard about, the construction build program. We simply couldn't do it without our community partners like CCI. So thank you for doing that. And also, I want to say thank you to our program and to you, Ryan, for making the program. We do need our trades. And I can tell you how difficult it is. Yesterday I had my septic water backing up into my basement. And to find a gentleman or a female that could come in and blow the sewer line at 150 plus feet is an anomaly here in Beloit. So, and anybody who's tried to do building construction within their home, to find good tradespeople today is very difficult. So our program is not only needed, it is so welcomed by the community as well as the business community. And simply put, with the financial constraints that school districts are currently under without business partners like we have with CCI, we could not do what we're doing. So thank you, and thank you to you, Ryan, for making it happen.
Thanks, Shannon. John?
Brad, I just want to say that we really appreciate all the things all the partnerships that we've had with CCI, and we just very much appreciate it. We thank you. We thank CCI. We thank your partners as well. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much. We will move on. Next item is citizens or delegations on areas of interest not on the agenda. Citizens may speak to the board on items that are on the agenda as called by the chair. Is there anyone who wishes to speak? Please, Dorothy. Let me read this while this is happening. This is the part of speaking. Board of Education is now at a place on the agenda where we will receive public comments from citizens or delegations on areas of interest that are not on the agenda. The Board of Education will generally not respond or act on items that are not on tonight's agenda. Appropriate items will be referred to the administration or one of the board's committees. Citizens wishing to speak on one of the posted items may do so as the item is called. While the board and the district welcome public comments, we as a board also must ask that you exercise care in your comments that relate specifically to district employees or persons connected with the school system. In order to protect the rights of these individuals and in the interest of complying with open meetings law on prior posted items for consideration at this meeting, the board reserves the right to end comment on such topics. The use of specific names of district personnel may lead to legal liability on the part of the speaker. The board would also remind the public that the board has existing procedures in place to dispose of legitimate complaints against staff members and persons related to the district. Persons desiring to speak should come to the podium, give their name and address before beginning to speak. Each person is asked to speak no more than 3 minutes. Welcome, Dorothy.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Dorothy Harrell. I reside at 2284 Boulder Court in the city of Beloit. I rise this evening to say thank you to the many school board members who did choose to respond to emails, calls of concern, letters of concern that went to them concerning some of the current issues that were existing in the community. So I wanted to thank you for that. I think it's important for us as citizens to know that elected officials are listening and willing to respond when we say that we have questions and concerns. One of the other things that I wanted to mention today was that I did attend the Equality Committee meeting on yesterday along with Missy Henderson, and there's some confusion that seems to currently exist around the life or sustainability of that committee and what it is that the board chooses to do. And one of the things that I wanted to ask, that a committee that's existed in this community since 1981, I would ask that the board would continue to support the committee, renew its commitment to the committee and the focus of the committee, because I do think it's needed. I also think there's some confusion that exists around that committee versus a new ad hoc committee of the board. And I did go to the School District of Beloit website, and over on the left-hand side of the page, it talks about, we want interested community members. And they list a name and a number that you can call. I was happy to hear that you had people who had responded to that blurb that's on the website, but a call doesn't give any information around what it is that you're looking for, what it is the committee is going to be doing, what kind of criteria that the board is going to use in evaluating whether or not you could be a part of the committee. So I think there is another instance where there may be need for some more clarification from the board as far as these ad hoc committees. What is it that you want from the Equality Committee? We could not go forward with the agenda yesterday around goal setting because there was a need for that charge from the board in order to set goals. And in order to understand what your role would be as a citizen on the new ad hoc committee that you're advertising for, I would ask that there be some more information put forth. I don't know, with the people who called and said they want to be on the committee, I don't know what they're agreeing to do, because it doesn't tell you that. And a call only said they're taking names. There wasn't additional information that was given about the committee.
Okay.
So I'm just asking that there be some more clarity and information given around that ad hoc committee and a renewed commitment from the board for the Equality Committee.
Great.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Dorothy. Appreciate it. Anyone else? Okay. Dennis?
Dr. Dennis Baskin, 1768 Gateway, number 614. I want to go on the record to first thank you all for listening to us. We've dealt with a lot of issues in the last several weeks and month. I'm very pleased with you, Mr. Winkleman, by returning emails, and Mr. Todd Kabelka by returning emails as well. The second thing that I stand before is to implore the committee to make sure that the consultant is selected by the board, not the superintendent's office. The consultant should have the authority to do investigations to find out if the allegations of bullying, hostile work environment, racism, the hindrance of hiring in the district is true or not. Misty Henderson mentioned that at one of the meetings. I appreciate that there were some things alleged, and we need to get to the bottom to see if they're actually true. The third thing that I would like to ask is that the board members should be careful in doubling on the talking points that's given by the human resources in the superintendent's office. Tonight, in an editorial, Mr. Acom, it was stated about our numbers as it relates to the District of Diversity. Those numbers are misleading. They're putting in part-time people, summer interns. While all employees are important, we are concerned about professional employees. And so to set the record straight, we have 11 administrators in central office, 0 are black. We have 15 principals in the district, 0 are black. We have 5 assistant principals, only 1 are African American. 556 professional educators, only 34 are African American. So when we have a superintendent says that we have a problem in recruiting people, that is nonsense. And that's why it's important for the consultant to work with you, Mr. Winkleman, and the board so that we can get to the bottom of this. And it's important that the consultant work with people who have the capacity to appreciate diversity and who has the cultural competencies to understand it. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, we will move forward. As I said in our announcements, we're working on the ad hoc committee now. I appreciate the suggestions, and we will continue. The board will set the agenda for that, and the board will work with the potential members and pick a membership list as well as set the charge. And we have chatted, just the point, we have chatted a little bit about the Equality Committee, recognizing that we need to continue to figure out where that's going. We've talked about that happened over the summer, right? I think people came and chatted with us then as well. Okay. Next item up, thank you very much. Next item up, Superintendent's report to the board. We're going to hear from Cunningham tonight, right?
Correct. So I welcome Bryce Gustafson and Jen Papke, the principals at Cunningham Intermediate School. So as we entered into the 2014-15 school year, we also entered into kind of a new venture with intermediate schools and the elimination of the middle schools on the west side of town. And next year, with the advent of Fruzen, we'll be doing that on the east side. So Jen and Bryce, you can take it away.
You have fun PowerPoints for us?
Somewhat, sure. Jen Papke, proud principal of Cunningham Intermediate, my partner.
Bryce Gustafson.
We just want to give some highlights of kind of where we're at from the beginning of the year. Just kind of share some pieces there.
Very good. Well, not too long ago we met at Cunningham for the ribbon cutting, which we felt was a culminating moment of a lot of hard work for many individuals. This is honoring not just the hard work of those individuals, but the vision of the community, the board, and the children of our community to create a school that would be an intermediate model. One of the photos we have Jen's going to bring it around. It has a picture of all 67 staff members. Now that's a little bit more than what we have at Cunningham because in the picture we included the ABM staff. Can you imagine moving from your home right now? Think about all the things you would need, boxes, a truck to move it, and a bunch of friends. Well, now think about moving 25 classrooms for 67 people, and then all the books that go with all the kids. Sure, there were moments while we designed this process that we forgot a few things along the way, but that's pretty normal when you have a transition. It's what you do and how you react to those things along the way that makes you really good. So I'm very proud of not just the school district, but the staff in working through these challenging times of transitioning. They were up to the task, and the district responded when we had a need. They would fulfill the obligations to make our school whole. We're very proud of Cunningham. It's functioning every day. The process of things like lunch, going to lunch, how do you do that properly, and teaching the expectations is being managed every day and getting better and better.
So in terms of teaching the expectations, many of you have heard me multiple times talk about PBIS, our Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports. And I want to focus on you hearing the word proud. Very often when you hear us talking about Cunningham, and we're not just proud of Cunningham, but we use proud as our rebranding as we went in. So PBIS is about having 3 to 5 positively stated expectations to the school, and we focused on proud for positive, respectful, ownership, united, and drive. So the things that are important for all of our students, all of our staff, and the community as they come into the building. You see that we gave our teachers blank documents with school-wide expectations, but we want them to personalize what the classroom expectations that sort of break down within that are. So some of the ways that we work with our PBS is to have a kickoff at the beginning of the year where lessons were given for the school-wide expectations. We continue with weekly lessons that are more driven by what are sort of the spikes we're seeing in discipline, what are some of the offenses or where are the things that those are happening. And then we've had some themes. So wrapping up Bullying Prevention Month, focusing this week on bullying, having an Orange Day with a hunger drive that we had, and then looking at Orange again today Friday with bullying. We have lots of recognition for the students through Cab Cash, so they can get recognition Cab Cash from their teachers, turn it in for weekly drawings, quarterly drawings, things like that. And we'll be wrapping it up. Bryce is going to talk a little bit more later about a quarterly assembly that's going to come up where one of our focus is about the first 2 items in the matrix, the proud matrix, the positive, and the respectful. And students will be recognized for really standing out in those areas.
All right. Nice job, Jen. All right, so we have a ton of activities. I think my favorite and Jen's favorite photo in this picture is the combined picture of the McNeil and Cunningham athletes. A year ago, they were together on that field, playing with one another. Now they're together playing against. So that's one of the challenges is, you're leaving your friends at McNeil to start a new school, and but it's a new beginning for each student. We have other activities that we're very proud of at Cunningham, and that would include our first football team ever, and it was a victory too, by the way. Not that anybody's counting.
Very strong season.
And this last week we had our first volleyball match at Cunningham. That was really cool, getting things set up for our first time. All right. Other activities include softball and cross country so far this year. We have the CLC, or the Community Learning Center grant from the DPI, and that's a before and after school program. In the mornings, they focus on reading and math, and in the afternoons, they focus on STEM activities and enrichment. So far this year, I did some tabulating. In these programs, in the month of September, we had 1,605 additional hours of instruction for our students in the before school part. Oh, that was total for September. And in October, we had 2,870 hours of instruction when you count an hour for every kid that they've come. So that's over 4,475 hours that the CLC program has brought to Cunningham. That wasn't there a year ago, and thanks to the staff for the forward thinking of designing that grant and writing it last year. We have other activities. We also have a Minority Excellence Liaison for our building. We have a choir, concert band, Destination Imagination, drama, homework club, intramurals, jazz band, National Junior Honor Society, math team, musical, orchestra, a PBIS coach, student council, yearbook, math club, book quest, art club, and Just Say No. Those are just some of the activities at Cunningham.
And through those activities, that was one of the commitments that we felt very strongly with, as we had parent meetings starting last January. Yes, your day might look different, but here are the different opportunities we have. So we're truly providing opportunities for kids from 7:40 in the morning until 5:45 at night. and doing that through such great partnerships with the Boys and Girls Club, and then the dedication of our staff who, sure, they're getting paid, but they're giving that time. And it's, you know, they're taking a long day and saying, I still want to commit what I'm doing to kids, and it's just been phenomenal. So as we move forward, we know that we were also just recognized at the state for the Beating the Odds Award, and it was wonderful to send a couple of the staff members who were there last year. Bryce and I chose to have them go because that was not a part of something that we did. We wanted their recognition to be for the work that they did. And so now we set goals for our building in line with the district goals. How can we continue to get that recognition from the state? How can we continue to get that recognition in the district? So part of all of the new era is what are the new benchmarks that we can create? So in line with the district goals, we're following the goal of guaranteed academic engagement time. One of the biggest changes that we're working towards in the 4-8 building, typically in the middle school, there would be an in-school suspension room. Okay, we're looking at transitioning that traditional in-school suspension to an academic intervention, behavior intervention room, so that students are coming in and not just sitting in and doing work and being quiet because they need to be suspended for the day, but what are we doing to incorporate some skill building, some social skills and things like that with the students as sort of a restoration and some prevention for the future. Increased achievement in reading. I can speak at the 7 and 8 level. Looking back at the data that we had from McNeil, we saw that our students in intervention, 64% of them made accelerated growth of a year and a half. I want to bump that up to 75% of our students making that kind of growth, and then seeing the same thing in our next goal with reading. The teachers then are in the process right now with the new evaluation system to create their own goals in the classroom that are really specific to what they're doing in the classroom, what they can have an impact on, and how they're going to have their students grow as well. So lots of goal setting as we go through, but taking the students from where they're at, and we're just keep on bumping them further.
Okay, want to advance that? Very good. Well, we like to celebrate at Cunningham. And so far we've had 2 rec nights, and that's an activity for our students to do on a Friday. Keep them with us and together as a group, doing activities like dancing and hanging out in the gym and trying to beat their principal at basketball. Also, we've had an assembly this year. You can see some of the photos on the left and the bottom are some of the activities that were done in front of all their peers, and man, it was a great time. We really had a fabulous time. You can kind of peer into Cunningham's gym if you haven't seen it. You can see the climbing wall in the background, kids participating in the rec night, or the activities of the Pep Fest that we held. Some of the paneling in there. It's really cool, very pretty. If you ever like a tour, I'll be more than willing, or Jen can take you through if you'd like to meet up with us. We would love to walk you through Cunningham.
They could come on the day that they just got free passes to our next rec night on the 21st, so they could just come earlier in that day and check out some other things in the building.
That's right. We might put you to work, though, if you come. Just be warned. All right. So we have an upcoming assembly for recognition where we would review kids and their attendance, their grades, and their discipline, and reward them for those positive behaviors that we're looking for.
Any questions about Cunningham and where we're at so far?
Great. Questions, opportunities? Nora, please.
I attended the open house, and I was just amazed. Cunningham is where I went to elementary school from K through 6.
No way.
Yes. And I still had memories of so many things, but what a beautiful facility and use of the grounds. And anyway, to go into that building every day to work must be a pure joy, along with being with all those rambunctious youth. And speaking of that, I'm wondering how are the how are the students integrating with the 4th, 5th, and 6th, and then the 7th and 8th on another level? How's that going?
Okay, well, their day is pretty well separated.
Mm-hmm.
The 4th and 5th grade and 6th grade are in the older part of the building, and because their body shape and size is typically smaller, and so the bigger kids are in the newer classrooms are a little bit larger. But it also provides a divide for the kids, since that was one of the things the community wanted, was to to keep a divide there to make sure that the bigger kids weren't around. You could have 13 or 14-year-olds around, potentially 8 or 9. We really wanted to limit that, at least at the beginning, and maybe we could get them involved in helping out as a peer, maybe later on into the school year. But right now our schedule is very amenable to having our students go to lunch with just 4th and 5th grade students together, and then 6th grade are alone with just their 6th grade peers, and then 7 and 8 eat at their own times. So we've really taken a great amount of time in studying the schedule and getting better each day. But it was new, so it took a little bit of time to figure some of those things out. We're there now.
And physical plant-wise, you think about, the size of that building, and one thing that they did a fantastic job with was blending the old with the new. We have many different exits and entries. So every grade level has their own entry and exit. So beginning of school, when there's sort of some of that free time, that play time, we will see now some younger kids out front throwing footballs, doing their thing, some older kids out and back with basketballs. They have the opportunity to come in and eat breakfast together at the same time, but we have separate tables for them. Really the only time that everyone is all together is at dismissal time. And suddenly then I think the whole neighborhood feeling kicks in, that it's a very walkable space for kids. We have very little busing going on, not a lot of car pickup compared to what I saw when I was at McNeil. So as the kids kind of go out, I think they just get into that element of, we're walking with brothers and sisters and cousins, and there has not been, there were things that I worried about going from a school of that small size, a couple hundred, to almost 700, and the transitions at the end of the day have been really nice.
Super. Steve.
First of all, I want to thank Jen and Bryce and the entire Cunningham staff. It's hardest, and I've been through it a lot of times, so I have seen it a lot of times, to go in at the 11th hour when the building is just getting completed, about 20 minutes before the bell rings to start school, and you literally are scrambling. And you guys did a great job, and really appreciate that. That being said, I think we'd be remiss to not give a lot of credit to Goldie Brown, who was there before the principal. He is instrumental in the work that was done, and a lot of the design of the building, and a lot of thought that went into that very thing about how do you separate the 4th, 5th, and 6th from the 7th and 8th, and the entrances and the parking. And if there's one thing we are not good at is parking and traffic, okay? And we've had that, but at Cunningham it's been a pretty good deal, so really do appreciate that. But again, to the entire staff over there, great job, great start. If you haven't been there, really take them up on that tour option, because it's a beautiful building. And what they did in the transition from the new to the old part, or old to new, however you want to say it, is spectacular. It really is. They use that old architectural design, and they incorporate it into the new. I give Bray Architects so much credit for that. And then go to that gym. I think it's the second best gym in the district right now. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So let me add my kudos before you run away, just real quick. So when I was there for the dedication, right? So had a chance to wander around just a little bit, and so ran into a few of your ambassadors, right? Your students. And I can't resist saying, hi, and who are you, and what's the deal, right? So, what was so interesting, that's dedication, right? We're barely in the building. And so I had a nice chance to chat with this young man, and he was so proud of this building. I'm like, how long have you been here? Not that long. So proud. He kind of, he was telling me how it works from his eyes, right? Which was fascinating, because, he knew when lunch was and how it works, and 6th graders only eat together, and that's the deal. And so it was just, a wonderful opportunity to know. He knew the principal names. I'm like, and he looked at me and he goes, for good reasons. I'm like, okay, good. So that was cool. So, you're having a good impact. And then the other thing you talked about is some of the slides were up that I was thinking about is, the intermediate schools are the feeder schools to Beloit Memorial. So we're feeding them great scholars, first and foremost, right? That's the most important part. But we're also feeding them potential athletes in all the different sports. We're feeding them wonderful musicians. And so, I think we are as good as we all are. And so I thank you for your good work to help us be there and be at that point as well. So congratulations on getting it started.
Thank you.
So, thank you. Okay, next item up are reports to the board. And today we actually listed student board member report. So, so what we would ask is if you guys could maybe reintroduce or introduce, right? welcome, and tell us a little bit about who you are, and then maybe just a little bit about what's happening at Memorial these days. So that would be awesome.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Macy Lewis. I'm just going to briefly introduce myself. I'm a senior at Beloit Memorial. I've played volleyball and soccer. I write for the Crescent, the school newspaper at Beloit Memorial. I also play in the band, and I'm the president of National Honor Society, and this is my first board meeting. So just a couple of updates for you from the high school. All of our freshman students finished Aspire testing the last 2 weeks. They spent 6 days doing that. Sophomore students are going to be starting their WKCE testing coming up on Friday. And that's only going to be testing on social studies and science for the WKCE. And the rest of the school has their Term 1 exams coming up, and those will take place on Thursday and Friday, which corresponds with the schedule for WKCE testing.
All right. And I am Colton Bell, to say again. I'm a senior. Been a part of volleyball, orchestra, choir, theater. Yes. We covered majority of the things happening at Beloit Memorial High School in our announcements. Between the fall play, The Good Person of Szechuan, the boys soccer team going to the state tournament, Brenda and Bailey getting first and third at sectionals and going to state. It's been an exciting past couple weeks here at Beloit Memorial High School, but also our lead choir at the high school, the concert choir, was selected to be the featured choir at the WMEA, which is the Wisconsin Music Education Association Festival, on Thursday, October 30th at 11, and that is a huge honor because a lot of the times it is collegiate choirs that are being asked to perform, and as a high school choir with sophomores, juniors, and seniors, it's truly awesome to have that opportunity. That is on Thursday, October 30th at 11 a.m. at Monona Terrace, and we invite everybody to come. So yes, on behalf of the theater department, the athletic department, and also our performing arts, anyway, whether it's coming to the fall play, going to Milwaukee, going to Wisconsin Rapids, or coming to Monona Terrace, I'd really appreciate your support.
Awesome. Questions? Are you going with a question? Question, please. Yes.
Question and a comment. I'll start with a comment first. Welcome, both of you. And I also want to welcome you to stay with us for the entire board meeting. And as you see through our agenda, which I know you guys had in our packet in advance, we oftentimes, almost every board meeting, have policies for first or second reading of which would impact you as a student. So please don't think that your time is limited simply to the student input time, because I'd love to hear, as with the board, love to hear your opinions when we're looking at changing policies. So that's it for comment. But as far as question, you know what? My question is really a John Winkleman question, so I'll defer to you, John, because I'll let you ask it.
You don't have to defer to me, but and so I will ask a question. We often ask questions, right? So I'll toss an easy one at you tonight, right? Easy one. Can you share with us one? We talked about what's all going on at the school. Can you share with us one new thing you've learned this week at school? And we're only Tuesday in, so sorry to put you on the spot, but we're all going to class, right? We're doing stuff.
Well, right now in AP Physics, we're learning about roller coasters, which I think is really interesting. And so we're learning about the minimum speed that it takes to get around a loop in a roller coaster and the maximum speed that you can travel at to get over a hill of the roller coaster and not fly off of it.
Critical, because if I'm upside down, I want to make sure I'm going all the way around, right? Perfect. Colton, how about you?
All right, for me, one thing I've learned this week is yesterday we had an old choir teacher that taught years ago, and it's amazing that she is still involved in this program.
Is this Betty?
Whether
Elizabeth Reinholz?
No.
No. Who? Oh, Cheryl LeCarey.
Yes,
yeah.
That's exactly who it was.
Thank you.
And to see that she was still involved in this choir, even though she retired many years ago, is just awesome to see that this community, you really are always Beloit proud, and you really stay with it.
Okay. All right, thank you. So we got physics and choir out of that. That's good. Be careful what comes next. You never know. All right, committee reports, finance, transportation, and property. Michael, will you lead us on that?
Yes, thank you. The majority of our conversation in committee this month was budget overview and discussion. The only other highlight I would give to you is that we had requested last meeting for estimated savings with ABM contract, and we did get an overview of those savings. Fund 60 groups will be presented this evening for approval, I believe, for the full board. So that was our meeting.
Okay, any questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank
Next
you.
up will be John, Curriculum and Instruction.
The Curriculum and Instruction Committee met on October the 14th, and we looked at the monthly fund development report, which again has to do with grants, new grants, grants awaiting either acceptance or rejection, that sort of thing. It's a little early in the school year to have a lot of activity there, but as people who've heard me give this report before know, I believe that grants are a marvelous way to supplement our school district's revenue. We talked about the Springboard Language Arts curriculum. And Springboard, actually, there's a mathematics curriculum and a language arts curriculum, but we focused just on the language arts curriculum this time. And we've adopted Springboard. We're using their textbooks. So the question that the committee had was, okay, we've had Springboard now for a little while. How's it working? Springboard comes to us from the College Board, and it is considered quite rigorous. And so again, we wanted to know whether our students were handling the rigor, whether our teachers were finding it teachable, that sort of thing. We got a very good report, both at the middle school, in the middle schools and the high school. We had a teacher, one of the teachers from Aldrich was there, and we learned that indeed it's working very well. It's understandable to the students. The students are grabbing hold of it, and increased rigor is something that can be done. And since we've always believed that, why, it's always nice to hear that affirmation. Then we did the youth option, and we started the youth option discussion with a course being taught to our students by Blackhawk Tech. And this is actually a Blackhawk Tech course that's taught in our building. And in the past, it's been police science. And police science has been is now considered to be a little bit narrow in terms of its scope. So we've changed it to corrections, introduction to corrections. And we know that there is hiring going on in corrections, unfortunately, for our society, but it's reality. And so that course is newly offered this year. And that was just presented for information because it's actually a Blackhawk Tech course. Then finally, the youth options, which are going to be on our program later this evening, were introduced. You'll be pleased to know that your sharp-eyed curriculum committee detected a couple little things that had been overlooked in the preparation of that, and we now have a report being prepared for the board, being presented to the board tonight, which is 100% accurate. So I use that as an opportunity to put to rest the myth that the board doesn't read this stuff, because we do, and we pay attention to it. So that was our meeting.
Thank you, John. We will move forward. Okay, moving on to Policy and Personnel. Nora, please.
The Policy and Personnel Committee met on September 23rd to approve personnel hirings and changes. Also, we discussed inviting our legislators to the school district to ask a few questions that we as board members had. And some of those questions had to do with biannual budget, biannual budget, and their ideas on Common Core, outlook for the expansion of vouchers, and independent versus district charter schools, unfunded mandates, and shortage of teachers, SAGE, and charging fees. So these are some topics that we gave to our legislators and candidates that are seeking election. And so we facilitated that meeting, which did happen on October 21st as a special board meeting. And in our packet, there is a summary of that meeting. But the Policy and Personnel Committee met again on October 14th. And in that meeting, we approved and moved on to the full board the hiring of a mental health specialist from grant funding. And that grant funding came from the Safe Schools grant. And then we have a number of policies that we have discussed for first reading, second reading, and deletion. And just to update everybody on these policies, if you go onto our website under the board tab, down at the bottom you'll see policies. We have 890 policies, and we're systematically going through and updating and reviewing and deleting. So tonight we will be looking at the following policies for a first reading, and I'm just going to say them so that you'll know. Career education, elementary physical education, elementary art program, walking trip guidelines, library and educational media, digital media, student rights, responsibility, and freedom of speech, staff conduct, and grading system. And then for second reading, we will have curriculum guides, new or modified courses, work-based learning programs, and then for assignment of students to teachers and reporting child abuse and neglect, and student photographs. Policies that we'll be discussing for deletion include the P5 school selection, and also workbooks and libraries and instructional materials, as well as educational TV. So when we talk policy and personnel, all of those policies that I just mentioned are based on statutes, state statutes, and sometimes they change, and sometimes the changes cause us to have to look at our policies to update them, and sometimes they just become antiquated. So some of the policies we're deleting actually are maybe 25 or 30 years old, for example. And in addition to all of that, for future items, we hope to have a rough draft of a policy for our pool and fitness center and the uses of the new part in our facility, as well as we're going to look over ideas for a service animal, companion animal policy. So we're going to discuss that a little bit. And that's about all I have. Any questions?
Nor, can I add one to your future items?
Sure.
So I think many of us, Todd was good at sending out the affirmative action report. We do every year, right? So we all got that. But I think policy and personnel is the good first place to kind of have that review. Let's sit back and kind of talk our way through that. Todd can certainly share kind of what went into that, and we do this every year, and so there's some historical data there too. We can look back at it. So if you don't mind.
Got it.
Thank you so much. All right, next item up then is, where are we? Consent list.
Move approval.
Okay, move approval. Any questions? No? All in favor of the consent list, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Moving on, Fund 60 activity groups.
I would move approval of Fund 60 activity groups as well as Youth Option second semester 2014-2015. Although I am open to any amendments that might come afterwards from Mrs. Shermer.
Second. So there's a second, thank you. Shannon might have some questions.
Questions on both.
Both.
On Fund 60 student activity groups, the Film Club and the Lego League, I believe both have come through the board for approval, but under different titles. Was it Amito, Animated Club, perhaps? Yes, the Anime Club, not the Film Club, and the Lego League, I believe, is Robotics Club. So I just want to ensure that what the board approved is what that it matches Fund 60. So I'm perfectly fine with what's presented, but can we mesh the two to make sure that they match up?
So Janelle can follow up.
And then with youth options, I appreciate your enthusiasm, Mr. Acom, but I must ask on page 44, we see an individual requesting introduction to corrections with a GPA of 1.8 that is accepted, and I do believe that does not meet the parameters. So I would respectfully request that be denied, but all others be approved, and that a thorough review, because I'm not certain the cutoff, minimum GPA cutoffs was cut off on page 46, and those that require 2.5, I believe, if we're looking at introduction to public speaking, there may be a few that may fall in that category as well, but I can't ensure that with the way that it was printed.
So that's a 504910.
Correct.
Is that the one for 1.8 GPA you're saying?
Yes, please.
So let me think of who brings this to us. So, Lene, do you do part of this youth option question? Low GPA, if we just exclude it, then that would have to be clarified and come back to us. Hello? Oh, okay. Please talk to us then. Thank you. Yes, go.
The 1.8 GPA on page 45, about a third of the way
No,
down.
she's
is
looking at this one.
Denied.
She's
I
looking at-
understand it's denied.
Okay.
And over here, it's accepted. So the precedent is that it's denied, and so it should be denied.
Okay.
And that was something that
Oh.
your ever-vigilant committee failed to catch.
Okay, got it. Nora, please.
I think there's a little bit more because we discussed the 1.8, and the comment I think that was brought to us is it was expected that their grade point average would be at the acceptable level, the one that's on page 44. There were just, I think, some missing assignments by the time he took the class. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, this sounds like the motion now is becoming more complicated. So we could have two choices on this. We can deny 1.8 right now, and it can come back to us if they have that. And they can, and we can always approve that at that point. They can move forward and do what they need to do. Or, I'm hesitant to suggest this, we can tentatively approve it pending a final GPA that is appropriate. We can do either way, but right now the motion that I think Shannon is looking to offer is to say, no, come back. Is that where you are, Ms. Sharma?
That's where I'm at, simply for continuity. Because we
Consistency.
have other 1.8s on
Yeah.
page 45 that are denied. And so I really don't want to pick and choose which
Yeah.
we'll approve with the same GPA, which is those will deny. If it's
And we would
across the board GPA, I think it's very
We
clean.
would welcome them back if this is going to work out.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But I want continuity. I don't know by initials who they are. I don't want to know who they are, but I want to ensure that we have complete transparency and complete continuity across the board.
Got that. So do you want to make a friendly, Shannon, do you want to make a friendly amendment to Michael's push?
Yes,
Is
please.
that-
To ensure that all those that don't meet the parameters of the GPA as presented, the 2.0, 2.5, and 3.0, based on the respective
Classes?
based on the respective institutes of secondary education, be denied.
I would accept a friendly amendment that approves youth option requests of students that meet the criteria.
Okay.
Outstanding.
Yeah. Accept it.
Seconder's okay with that? All right, so far we're good on friendly amendments. Anything else on this? John, please? No?
I'm on the other one,
You're on the other one, which is the Fund 60s? Okay, go back to Fund 60. Thank you.
Okay, under Fund 60, I guess first of all, I have a question. There's an approval at the top of page 42 for MEO-MEO Latino. And what I'm trying to understand, it says that it's to interest in, promote, and introduce young minority students, African American, American Indian, Alaska Native, Asian Pacific Islander, Hispanic, Latino, and multi-ethnic, and to careers with math, science, English, and so forth. And I'm trying to understand whether that's one organization or two. Somebody help me.
So I'm going to, Shannon, do you know the answer? Or so, please.
It is one organization, and they're a very active organization. In fact, they do some pretty significant field trips, college tours. But it's my understanding that it's one organization, and I would look to our high school representatives to correct me if I'm incorrect in that statement.
We're getting a nod. Okay, yes, we have an affirmative nod.
That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
All right. Now, we have that as a friendly amendment. We're good. Michelle, are you good with us? Okay, thank you. With that in mind, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Michael, for the motion. Now we are on policies for first reading. I got it. He moved us on. Policies for first reading. Do we have a motion, please?
Yeah, approval for first reading, policies 341.12, 341.41, 341.51, 352, 362, 362.2, 441, 522, and 345.1.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there questions on any of these 1 through 9? We'll start with Shannon again. Thank you.
Okay, on 341.51 elementary art education, the question I have is, do we need to spell out 5-year-old kindergarten? Because it's not pre-K, it's not 4K, do we need, I guess I'm questioning why we need the word 5-year-old kindergarten, because there will be some students that are 4 years old while starting kindergarten, which is 5-year-old kindergarten. So as a parent, that would be confusing to me. I had a, so help me
So how
understand,
about it
because I
being-
believe 4K is optional and 5K is, I mean, by statute it's optional, but typically most students attend kindergarten, which is the 5K, correct?
Shannon, can we just push that back to committee for review and
Absolutely.
work with Lene to kind of tweak that?
Please.
Great, thank you.
And then moving forward to 362.2, digital media use. The question I have is, we're very specific as far as what can be shown in the high school, what can be shown in the intermediate schools, grades 7 and 8, and we're silent to everything else. So I know it's not a free gamut for 4K through 6th grade, but as far as I can tell, we don't have any specific parameters there. And so I would ask that committee look at that, and do we need any parameters? And then the last, moving forward to 345.1 grading system, I would, in an effort to save time, all of the questions and concerns I raised at the preceding meeting, policy and personnel tonight, I would ask be carried over and be looked at by committee on this policy before it comes forward for second reading.
Okay, thank you. Nora, did you have, or John, you had something, thank you.
Okay, first of all, on what Shannon just said on grading system, again, I would hope that the committee would take my comments from the preceding meeting into account as well. Looking at staff conduct, I read this through a couple of times, kind of thought about it, and essentially the question that I had was, is all the stuff in here that ought to be in here? And I came up with a suggested addition of a list, which I realize the list is not intended to include all types of activity which could lead to discipline, because there's always one more.
Correct.
But one that I think might well be put in there because I think specificity is important. And that is this, accessing pornographic material on a school-owned digital device or accessing such material on a personal digital device while on school property. And so there's two separate things there. I think both of them are always going to be items that are going to require disciplinary action of some sort. And I would suggest that we add that in.
So, John, can I offer a thought? Because this goes back to first reading anyway, right? So I appreciate that thought. But I think that if we could ask policy committee and work with Todd, we have a specific policy on those already. So the question is,
Could reference it.
do we need to could reference it at that point, right? So we're not trying to duplicate something that goes with that. Just a consideration. I know we have something very specific on that particular topic. So can we ask committee to take a look and see if that makes some sense? Okay, good. Anything else? Those are great. Okay, so we have a motion. All in favor of moving these forward for next review and reading, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, policies for second reading.
Move approval of policies for second reading, 331, 332, 341.11, 342.41, and 342.41 Rule 1.
For deletion.
For
that one.
deletion. 433, 454, and 454 Rule 1, and 492.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions? Shannon?
It's
Thank
my
you.
night.
It's your night. All right.
Policy 332, new or modified courses. This one is a great policy, but it struck a chord as I read through it because I don't know that we're actively doing what we say we're going to do on this one. And specifically, it says that The overall program evaluation method shall be reviewed at least once every 5-year period. I think about Phi-Ed elementary curriculums. I don't know that I've ever seen those. And
Like
maybe
committee, you mean, or something?
coming to curriculum committee, or just a report every 5 years of rolling different curricula in accordance with the policy. Or if we jump down, it also states that all new or modified courses shall be approved on a 2-year pilot basis. And while I understand that to be true, once those 2 years have expired, I have not seen regularly, with the number of courses that we've approved, a report at the end of the pilot basis for full board approval as we continue on. And I can think of some significant ones that have evolved and changed that have not come in front of the board. For example, CCNA was a certificate-based course at the high school, and it never resulted in a certificate because that evolved during the iteration of that course. Cisco, the same thing. AP Programming, which we approved last year, is not an AP course. It is now a Project Lead the Way course. None of those changes came back to the board, but they're occurring ongoing. So I would ask that perhaps we table this policy to ensure that we can meet the parameters of this policy, because I'm very uncomfortable with saying right now we're meeting the expectations as the policy is written.
Okay, good questions. I think Michael, and then Steve.
Well, I just think in terms of evaluation, the policy doesn't state that the board evaluates those after that process, right?
The pilot you're talking about?
Right. It says new or changed courses approved by the Board of Education will be evaluated. And then it says the evaluation is constructed by the instructor, department chair, or administration in conjunction with the Department of Educational Programs. So there have been things that have changed, but the policy doesn't state that those changes necessarily come before the board. It just says that these people will review those changes. So, but I do think, though, that we've, obviously need to look at it, but I don't, those are my thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Steve?
Just a couple things, and I don't think you're completely wrong on this, Shannon, because I
Yeah.
think there's some things that we could do better there. That said, the Phi-Ed curriculum for the elementary was just changed and presented to the board 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the whole new curriculum. So, you guys got that entire thing. I forget the name of it now because I'm old, but then as far as the AP programming goes, they did go away from AP programming because they had the opportunity to go to Project Lead the Way, which gave every kid credit, not just those who passed with. So the effect was more of our kids got the credit for the course. So, probably inform the board of that. That'd be one of those rubber stamp things the board would say, that's a great idea, because you want to get involved in as many Project Lead the Way courses as you can, because you can get the dual credit for those, and that's a good thing. So I do think there's some things that we can do better there, just to look at them, but there are some simple explanations to them, and maybe you just need to hear them.
Point of clarification.
Please.
Is Ms. Sharma wanting to remove it from my motion and send it back to committee? I would accept that. Yes.
That's okay. You can ask the question. Mark, I think you seconded. Are you okay with that? Yep. Okay. Okay. So we're going to pull it out of that. That's the friendly amendment piece, and then we can decide what we want to do with it. I think I would add. So from Shannon's perspective, I would add. The one thing that I would ask as the policy looks at this is that we were trying to be very careful to not impede the process of new options, of people thinking outside the box, of people like, I have a great course, I want to make it run. And John's committee and folks have done a great job at kind of helping that nurture that, move it through, right? So for me, that's just a very important piece of what we do. It allows our faculty to kind of say, this is a great opportunity, here's a new twist, here's a whatever. So I wouldn't want to lose that, but I do think that before something kind of becomes a permanent offering, that maybe there's a way to kind of bring something back that says, at this point in the year, the following 10 courses are now moving towards permanent offering. We've done our due diligence and assessed them, and that would just come back either as a report to the board or as something, right? Is that what you're kind of asking, Shannon? I'm trying to summarize. Okay. With that, do you have one more thing? Yes, ma'am?
On policy 341.11, if I might.
Got another
The
one.
work-based learning programs. One of the things that we've really worked hard and we're doing an outstanding job with is that we're easy to do business with our business communities. And so I am slightly concerned with the last paragraph, and I would request that we move it forward this evening, but it again return back to policy and personnel to look at, could we be a little easier to do business with and break it out, so that right now, if I were to read it, I almost think if I'm not 18, I'm not able to be included within this program. But if we were to word it something like 18 and older are, I don't want to say automatically eligible, but something to the equivalent, 17 and under, the requirements to be eligible for work-based learning permits shall include obtaining work permit, whatever those are, so that I wouldn't read it and feel as if because I'm 17, I'm excluded.
You kind of, I think Steve is saying you kind of are in some ways.
I mean, it just says you have to have the permit if you're under 18.
So maybe I'm mincing words, but the way I read it, no student under the age of 18 may begin employment within the district voice learning program until he has obtained the necessary work permit as required by state law. But it doesn't tell me how to do it. So I guess what I'm asking is not to delay it this evening, but could I ask that it return back to policy and personnel and look at bulleting out what that process is? Because it's pretty simple, but I mean, if I'm 17, I'm guessing I wouldn't know what that process
I
is.
thought, isn't the statute on here?
Yeah.
Isn't that the statute?
But I would have to know to go Google the statute.
So let me
Maybe
offer,
I'm
can I
mistaken.
offer a suggested thought, right? Because as we do these policies, we're trying to take the operations out of the policies and put the operations where they belong. So, you know, I guess I would look to Stephen Lene and Ryan, or whoever in this one, right? Could look at that and say, where is it best stated to help students understand how it works? Is that in the course catalog? Is that in something else that goes out? Because I'm going to say, if I'm a student, I'm not looking in the board policy book, right? It's just not happening. Well, they might, right? You guys might. Sorry, not to dish you, but I'm still going to guess. You're smiling and laughing that board policy book's probably not where you're going. Okay. So we've been trying not to put kind of that stuff into policy. So we can ask Steve and Lene and company to look at that. Is that okay, Shannon, to kind of move that forward? John?
If we decide to leave it in some form, I think it's an editing problem. I think that this sentence is basically written as a negative sentence. It can be turned around into a positive sentence, and I think that addresses what the perception that Shannon immediately saw in it, because it is a negative sentence, and we're trying to be more positive as a school district anyway.
So with that in mind, is there a friendly amendment that asks the staff to just content the same, please rearrange the sentence into a more positive fashion?
I would move that as such.
Friendly.
I'll second that.
Friendlier.
I'll accept it.
To play. It gives permission to play with it. How about that, right? And it's fine.
And would Mark, as the seconder of the motion, be amenable to a friendly?
Sure,
Sure, why
Thank
not?
you.
Okay. All right, now are we good? All right, nice work, folks. Now we have all the motions in front of us. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And anyone opposed? Thank you so much.
Is it Claire, Michelle?
Are you? Chris?
The
I'm
motion is
worried.
to approve all
I'm worried
policies for
about that
second
one,
reading
so-
except to table newer modified courses and wordsmith that one thing.
Right, so now we do need a motion on the newer modified courses, right? Because we took that out of this motion. So is there a motion to table that?
Shannon.
Please, I'm entertaining a motion to table that. Ms. Sharma.
Move to table and send back to committee policy 332, newer modified courses.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're moving forward.
Hang on, Michelle's got it.
What's that?
Oh.
You already did that.
Yeah.
She did a friendly amendment to remove it from Michael's motion. We accepted that, so we
Oh, way ahead
Right,
of the
so it
game.
was removed from my motion, but it wasn't removed for approval on the agenda.
Right, that's where I'm at. I'm trying to check off my agenda.
It's late in the fourth quarter, I understand.
We got it. We're doing well, and we're still early, folks. This isn't, we haven't gone as long as some of my predecessors' meetings have gone. We're still good. Policies.
Wow!
Policies for deletion. Here we go. Thank you. Policies for deletion. First reading, please. Is there such a motion for workbooks, libraries, and educational television?
Move approval.
Second, just so you know, I think what we've figured out in committee is that while we're technically taking these out, deletion is always good for a policy book of 800 and some policies. They're really worked back into a couple of other places, so we're not really throwing them away. All in favor, say aye. 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 Personnel recommendations, we have this in front of us.
Move approval.
Move approval. Second, any questions?
Just clarifying that it is the revised dated 10/28/14 that we are moving this evening?
Yep, that's right, yep. Thank you very much. Michael, please.
I will be abstaining from
Oh, yeah.
this, but I do want to say it's because of my wonderful mother is now going to be working at Todd, my alma mater. She is now a Timberwolf, and I'm very proud of you and love you and happy. I'm glad you didn't work there when I was there. I'm glad you're working there now.
All right, thank you, Michael. He will be doing that. Having had a father as a chemistry instructor, fully understand that concept. There we go. Anything else? All in favor of policy or personnel recommendations? Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you so much.
Abstention.
Abstention, thank you. Discussion items, items interested future meetings. I think we added the piece to Nora's topic. Anybody else have items of interest at future meetings? We have several on our list. Yes, Nora?
We do have the ad hoc and equity.
Yep,
committee that
coming back.
we have
Mhm.
Consultant.
That's part of that whole process, right?
And then the evaluations, administrator evaluation. And just that.
All right, thank you. We'll bring that back somewhere here.
Okay.
Got that. Good reminder. Okay, any future board dates, committee meetings, November 11th, Finance, Transportation, Property, Curriculum, Policy, and Personnel. Business meeting, November 25th, right before Thanksgiving. Be ready, okay? Off we go. Thank you so much. We are adjourned.